Hello and welcome to an India Today special broadcast on Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense. I'm Gaurav Sawant. India is making bold strides towards self-reliance in defense, and that is the need of the hour. On the Republic Day, on Kartavya Path, you will see how India is taking big steps, and this is not just for Kartavya Path, it's for deployment from the Siachen Glacier to eastern Ladakh to the Indian Ocean region, and of course the skies above. So from the groundbreaking air-droppable containers to the powerful Rampage supersonic missile, the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative is strengthening the nation's maritime defense. Before I get you more on what's at Kartavya Path, take a look at some of these major force multipliers.
It is the big Atmanirbhar Bharat push to help Indian Navy stretch its sea legs. The Indian Navy has just carried out a successful test of deployment of its air-droppable container ADC-150 from on board a P-8I long-range maritime reconnaissance aircraft. The indigenously manufactured air-droppable container is being seen as a game-changer to enable longer deployment of ships at sea. The ADC has been jointly designed and manufactured by the three labs of the Defence Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, including the Naval Science and Technology Visakhapatnam, Aerial Delivery Research and Development Establishment Agra, and Aeronautical Development Establishment Bengaluru.
The ADC-150 is an air-droppable container to be dropped from P-8I aircraft. It can carry a store of 150 kgs if we want to transport any spare parts, medicines, and so on and so forth. So we are able to support our ships at a very, very far distance, and that gives us the capability for a mission-deployed Indian Navy.
In case ships deployed at sea run short of resources or require urgent spares, equipment and material, they do not need to leave their mission incomplete and rush to the shore. The P-8I long-range aircraft can airdrop the required equipment near the ship out at sea.
इसका इन-फ्लाइट ट्रायल हमने 22 जनवरी को किया और P-8I जहाज से हमने इसको गिराया गोवा में और ये सक्सेसफुल रहा.
With Indian Navy's ever-increasing area of responsibility and operations from North Arabian Sea to South China Sea, the air-droppable container is a major force multiplier for the Navy.
Indian Navy conducted a successful test trial of ADC-150 from the P-8I aircraft at Goa coast on the 22nd Jan. The ADC-150 is an indigenously designed and developed air-droppable container with 150 kilogram payload capacity. The trial was conducted to enhance naval operational logistic capability to meet a requirement of the engineering store and other requirements.
The Indian Navy is also adding teeth to its firepower with the MiG-29K fighter jets now being armed with the Rampage long-range supersonic air-to-ground missiles.
Integration of Rampage on MiG-29K. We have made a aggregator unit which uses advanced technologies to expedite this data link. So once the aircraft picks up the targets, the EO picture, it is readily available at MOC and available for the tactical commander to take necessary action against that.
The Rampage missiles are fitted on MiG-29K naval fighter jets on board INS Vikrant.
The Rampage missile is a supersonic missile, and it has got a very, very long range. It's fired against land attack. It's a land attack weapon, and it is fired against land targets. So the anti-missile defenses also are beaten by this missile. So these are some things that make this weapon a world-class weapon. And now that it has been integrated onto the MiG-29s of the Indian Navy, we have a strike power which was not there with us before.
The Rampage air-to-ground supersonic missiles have a range of over 250 kilometers. They are already deployed in the IAF fighter jets, including the Su-30 MKI, MiG-29 air dominance fighters, and the Jaguar deep penetration strike aircraft. The Rampage have a longer range than the Spice 2000 missiles that were used by the Indian Air Force in the Balakot air strikes. With Manjeet Singh Negi in Goa, Bureau Report, India Today.
The Russia-Ukraine war and the conflict in West Asia, they've underscored the importance of self-reliance in defense manufacturing. Given our hostile neighborhood, clearly India knows the game and India knows how important it is to be self-reliant. Now, some of the finest military minds join me on this India Today special broadcast. Privileged to be joined by Lieutenant General K.J.S. Dhillon, former Director General of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha is former Flag Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Western Naval Command. He's a naval aviator. And Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor is former Director General Inspection and Flight Safety of the Indian Air Force. Gentlemen, privileged to have you all on the broadcast. General Dhillon, if I could begin by asking you, sir, now on Kartavya Path, when we see the Made in India defense equipment, given India's hostile neighborhood, how confident are you of Made in India weapons protecting our borders? Where do we stand today and where do we need to go, sir?
Thank you, Gaurav, and good evening to all your viewers and my co-panelists, and also wishing Happy Republic Day in advance to all your viewers. The aspect of Make in India and being self-reliant is very important for the whole of nation, but specifically for the defense forces. If you recollect, you have covered the Kargil war very extensively. While fighting the war, we had to import ammunition for Bofors. Now, we don't want to get into that situation again, where we are fighting a war and we are up against the wall for need of some weapons or equipment or any space. That's why the Make in India initiative is the most relevant and timely initiative. Coming to the point, how confident as a soldier I am of Indian-made weapons, I must tell you our DRDO is very strong. In addition, our private players, the private defense industry, their R&D, they join hand in hand. DRDO does not go alone anymore. DRDO is totally in coordination with the civil industry or private industry. So I am very confident because DRDO is very strong. Our trial methodology is very strong.
Okay.
We induct the weapons after having tried it out in all terrains, starting from Siachen, going right up to the Indian Ocean.
Right.
So I am very confident to handle Indian-made weapons, and this is a very, very welcome step.
It is a welcome step indeed, but Air Marshal Kapoor, the Air Force continues to face issues when it comes to indigenization, when it comes to fighter jet engines, when it comes to depleting squadron strengths. What's the way out? That Atmanirbhar Bharat remains important, but then you're also not found wanting when it comes to protecting our borders, given the hostile neighborhood, when it comes to squadron strength, sir.
See, Indian Air Force has invested a lot of time, effort, along with ADA, HAL, DRDO to manufacture LCA and associated weapon. Now, as you mentioned out in this parade, this Akash new generation missile, which the Indian Air Force would be exhibiting in this parade the day after, it's a missile which can engage 4 targets simultaneously. And this missile can detect things which the other countries have already reached that capability, which we have indigenously got by our own research. So this 19 feet long missile can look into the enemy network, can pick up the ECCM signals of that missiles, and can simultaneously engage. So that's a big leap, and it's a succession to our Akash and Akash 1S series. And this is also for the benefit of the viewers being exported to Armenia.
Yes.
So India is not only now developing its own weapons, but the other countries are also interested to take and buy our own weapons in the days to come.
Where are we found wanting when it comes to fighter jet engines, and what's the way out, Air Marshal Kapoor, when we are stuck in manufacturing fighter jets or getting adequate numbers in times so that our squadron strength can be maintained?
Okay, the audio is not very clear, but I got your question that to manufacture fighter aeroplanes, what is the way out indigenous? I had covered it in some other forums also. The technology to develop an aircraft engine is at par with developing something like a nuclear weapon. So only 4 to 5 countries in the world are manufacturing aircraft engines, which they are not willing to share the technology with us. So like we had to develop our own nuclear capability, our own space capability, our own missile capability, we have to invest in manufacturing aircraft engines. Now, why engines are very important? Because everything in the aeroplane rides on the engine. All your systems, weapon systems, air conditioning, all the tappings for every system in the platform is taken from the engine. So engine is the heart of the aeroplane. So till we are able to manufacture our own engines, we will have to rely. So what you hear is that we have indigenized 80%, 45%, 70%, 72%. But the key element of engine has to. Now the way ahead is that we have to rope in the private sector. In our country, unlike other Western countries, there is not enough stress at college level, university levels on research.
Yes.
So in America and other countries, there is a lot of funding from the private sector who are into defense manufacturing, and this research is subsidized by the government to a large extent.
Yes.
So in my opinion, we will have to initially catch up, because it is not leapfrogging. You will have to do something like a pole vault now, because the gap has increased to an extent wherein we will have to follow something that C295 model, wherein we get a TOT. We manufacture the components here using our indigenous industries, and thereafter in the process set up our own infrastructure to manufacture aeroplanes. Okay. Now the gap which has existed of...
Let me also bring in Admiral Shekhar Sinha, who joins us on this broadcast, a naval aviator par excellence himself. Admiral Sinha, when it comes to the Navy, we are told from the drawing board to the ship when it's commissioned, the Navy is a part of every step of the shipbuilding process. But on the submarine front, and since you've been Flag Officer Commanding in Chief, Western Naval Command, on the submarine front, we're still importing, while we're also manufacturing Project 75 and P75I. Are we found wanting there, sir?
Well, thank you, Gaurav, for getting me on your show. And very happy Republic Day to your viewers and all my co-panelists. Gaurav, we started very early as far as indigenization is concerned. It was in early 60s that we started making our own ships, because we realized that the ships are very expensive and the government may not be able to fund import in the coming days, where we had taken the responsibility of maritime security from Gulf of Aden to the Malacca Strait. So therefore, it was necessary for our predecessors to take this decision that we will make our own ships. So the defense PSUs, the shipyards, Mazgon Dock, GRAC, GSL, they played a very key role. And what we did was we started our own branch of the Naval Design Bureau. Naval Ship Design Bureau. And they are the naval officers. They are trained, they're engineers, they are sort of done courses outside the country also. They started designing the ships, and our PSUs did a very good job of manufacturing it. Mm-hmm. What we do is at the time of manufacturing, there is a warship overseeing team which is positioned with the manufacturer, and it remains with them throughout till the ship actually sails out into the sea and given for trial.
Right.
So that is how we have become much more Atmanirbhar. Coming to submarines, we did the difficult thing first. We made the nuclear submarine first, and now we are making the diesel submarine. Very typically Indian that we do difficult things easily, and easy things comes to us very late.
Okay.
So what has happened is the nuclear submarine is absolutely Indian. There's nothing imported in that. But the diesel submarines, we started manufacturing the first one under license built on a sort of higher scale was the Scorpion.
Yes.
As you know that 6 of them have sailed out. That is a venture in which the production was done under the supervision of the French. And now we are going with, I believe, what I saw in the newspaper, that we have the German ThyssenKrupp who will be making along with the Mazagon Dock Limited. Mind you, they are one of the best submarines in the world.
Okay.
They have got AIP fitted. Most likely, the air-independent propulsion will be our indigenous, which has been manufactured by the DRDO. So yes, we have been little behind time as far as diesel submarines are concerned.
You know, because the last 30 seconds that I have on this part of the program, General Dillon, you know, we are making the Pinaka system, the multi-barrel rocket launchers, and the army is pressing ahead with it. We are looking at missiles that we manufacture within our country. We are looking at artillery guns that we are manufacturing within our country. And at the same time, we need to import small arms. We need to import rifles. Why do we need to do that, sir?
Yeah, Gaurav. Even this is the question which every Indian must ask, and rightly you are also asking. If we are capable, if our R&D industry, maybe private or government-owned, is capable of making, like we just heard about aircraft engines, the submarines, you talked about guns and Pinakas, and we are enhancing their capabilities. May it be anti-tank gun missiles, may it be the Pinaka MBRLs. Yes, I think we can manufacture the small arms within the country. It is just that the requirement is becoming as if we wanted by yesterday.
Yes.
I think there the perspective planning comes into play. We can buy the immediate requirement off the shelf, but in the long run, we must have our own industry which can produce small arms for not only for the Army, for the Navy, for the Air Force, for the CAPFs, and then make it self-sustaining and export.
And export. That's when we know that we are the best, when the world comes and buys from us like they already are in some instances. Gentlemen, I need to, you know, it's great talking to you on this, and we'll have longer conversations. But I want our viewers to see a glimpse of what they will on the Republic Day parade. We are not just showcasing India's military might and our rich cultural heritage, but India's self-reliance in defense will also be on display. Take a look at India's Atmanirbhar Flex, this Republic Day parade.
76th Republic Day will be a big flex for Atmanirbhar Bharat. The Nag missile system will be one of the big showcase. It has the capability to destroy tanks and armored vehicles. Just a few days ago, Nag was tested in Pokhran field range. Nag Mk2 is a third-generation anti-tank missile. It works on fire and forget technology. This means that once the target is hit, the missile destroys it on its own. In the test, the missile hit the target accurately at both short and long distances. This time, the tactical ballistic missile Pralay and long-range Pinaka rocket system will also be displayed at the Republic Day parade. This will be the first time that the surface-to-surface Pralay missile will be included in the parade. The Pralay missile, with a range of 500 kilometers, is for conventional attack on enemy targets. This missile has been deployed on the border with China. Apart from this, the Pinaka multi-barrel rocket launcher is a story of indigenous success. The Pinaka multi-barrel rocket was first used by the Indian Army during the Kargil War. It is also completely indigenous. Its caliber is 214 mm. Its range is 40 kilometers. Each rocket launcher of Pinaka has 12 rockets. One battery of Pinaka has 6 vehicles, that is 72 rockets. One battery can fire 72 rockets in 44 seconds. The 75-kilometer range Pinaka rocket has been tested and preparations are on to include it in the Indian Army. There is also a plan to increase its range to 90 kilometers, 120 kilometers and 300 kilometers. The Indian Army currently has 4 Pinaka regiments. 6 more regiments have been approved. The Air Force's Akash missile system will also be seen in the Republic Day parade, this time to highlight the pride of self-reliant India. Through this weapon, India has become the first country to have the capability to hit 4 targets. The range of the ground-to-air Akash NG missile is 40 to 80 kilometers. It can be launched from a mobile platform. This 19 feet long missile can carry weapons weighing 60 kilos with it. This 720 kilogram missile has an active electronically scanned array multifunction radar which can also scan enemy missiles and aircraft. It was deployed along the LAC during the border dispute with China last year.
मेक इन इंडिया से भारत की सेनाओं का सामर्थ्य बढ़ने के साथ ही आर्थिक प्रगति के नए द्वार भी खुल रहे हैं। आज भारत दुनिया की तीसरी बड़ी इकोनॉमी बनने की तरफ तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहा है। हमारी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, हमारी एक्सपोर्टिंग कैपेसिटी भी लगातार बढ़ रही है। साथियों, हमारी सरकार का तीसरा कार्यकाल अनेक बड़े निर्णयों के साथ शुरू हुआ है। तेज गति से हमने नई नीतियां बनाई हैं, देश की जरूरतों को देखते हुए नए कार्य शुरू किए हैं। देश के हर कोने, हर सेक्टर का विकास हो, इस लक्ष्य के साथ हम चल रहे हैं।
BrahMos missile is also a big boost to Atmanirbhar Bharat. BrahMos is India's first cruise missile which is used by all 3 armed forces of India. The range of Indian Air Force's BrahMos missiles is 500 kilometers. In future, there is a plan to install it on the other fighter jets as well. BrahMos missile is capable of changing its path in the air itself. It destroys even a moving target. It is capable of flying at a height of 10 meters, which means the enemy radar will not be able to see it. It can deceive any other missile detection system. It is almost impossible to shoot it down. This is the reason why Indonesia has shown interest in the air-launched BrahMos missile. Indonesian President will be the chief guest this Republic Day, and sources reveal that Indonesia's Defense Ministry is negotiating a $450 million deal to give its military BrahMos muscle. This potential deal marks a continuation of India's push to establish itself as a major player in the global defense export market. Bureau Report, India Today.
To be a real superpower, we have not just to manufacture weapons, but they have to be world-class weapons, good not just for our armed forces, but even for export. And we'll be tracking the story very closely. That is all I have for you on this India Today special broadcast. Many thanks for watching and wish you and your loved ones a very happy Republic Day.